Hello and welcome to the first video on what I'm calling my Kerbal amateur space program. Real quick about what these videos are and what they're not. They really are an amateur program. My game is heavily modded. Mostly what I'm going to be talking about, at least in the first few series, is showing how I use MechJeb to run my space program. What these videos are not, they're not showing you even the basics. We're going to be strictly focused on my use of MechJeb, unless someone asks for anything specific. That said, someone did, and so this first video is going to be how to install MechJeb. And the request I had specifically said, explain it like I'm 5. So that's how it's going to be. If you don't need that, well, I'm going to put the link for MechJeb 2, because that's what I'm using is MechJeb 2. And you can go ahead and grab that and proceed on if you need to. Where the idea for these videos came from is in the subreddit for Kerbal Space Program. There's a lot of talk about the use of MechJeb, and a lot of people asking for help on it, but every time they do, they get shut down by the elitists who say, you shouldn't be using it. Well, my view on it is it's your game, and who am I to tell you how to play your game? If you want help with MechJeb, here it is. I'm not going to show you everything about it, but I'm going to show you how I use it. And if it helps you, great. If not, well, there are other tutorials out there a little more in depth. And you know what? If you don't like MechJeb, don't use it. I'm not telling you this is how you have to play your game. And the reason that I use it, well, mainly because I had done about everything there was to do for the sandbox mode with stock parts. And, I just wanted to set up a space program with things to do. So if I hit ascent and MechJeb gets me into orbit, that gives me a minute and a half to go grab a cup of coffee, do a little bit of homework, whatever. So I don't have to sit here and stare at a nav ball. And the thing for me really is that we have these systems in real life too, on everything that we're sending in space. There's always an override. If I need to, I can turn off MechJeb and fly the thing. I do it all the time. Same as we do with our real space programs. So I don't see that it's taken that much away from the game. Yes, there's some accomplishment to flying to the moon or to other planets and without MechJeb, and I've done those things, and this is just how I'm running my program. The other thing about it is that some people might just like to play this game where they build rockets and then they want to know if they fly, but they're not all that interested in flying them themselves. And again, there's a real life correlation there as well. There are people who build rockets and don't fly them. They're called engineers. Somebody may correct me on exactly what they're called, fine, but if that's how you want to play your game, well, fine, and MechJeb can help you do that. But the way I see it is until someone is paying for your game for you, nobody should be telling you how to play your game. So one quick note before I get started. I am using Kerbal Space Program 0.20.2. I don't know if it's going to cause any differences, but if you are using 0.19, how you install MechJeb is going to be a little bit different, and I'm not going to really cover that. I'm just going to show you how to do it with what is current for the game, and this will likely be outdated soon, but it is different from the way it was done 0.19. A couple things that you need to know before we get started. You need to know where your Kerbal Space Program folder is, and if you need to search for it, can type it in here type it correctly, and find your folder. Open. Okay, and this will tell you where it's at. And I actually drug my folder to the side here, so I always have a link to it. Really helps out with installing the mods. Another thing that you need to know is when you download something from the internet, where does that go? And it may be a setting on your browser, tell you where it goes. Mine go to my downloads. I have a link right here that I can click. They're going to end up here. You might need to find it in there. So as long as you know where those are. Now, as I said earlier, I am using MechJeb 2. Actually, MechJeb version 2.0.8. I prefer it. That's the one I'm going to show you in the tutorial. I haven't used 0.19 since, well, back in 0.19, Kerbal 0.19, so I'm not sure what the difference is, but here is MechJeb 1.9, excuse me. MechJeb 1.9 if you want that, but I'm using 2.0.8. So how we install it. So you're going to click that and you should get the pop-up. You can save the file. I just open it with Windows Explorer. If you're using Vista or Windows 7, you can extract right from here. If you need to use WinZip or 7-Zip or something like that, you can save it and do it that way. But the key thing is figure out how to extract your files, and then you want to extract them. And I keep them in a separate folder. I don't just extract them straight into my Kerbal Space program. That way, if I want to delete it, say for this video, I can install it right back. But you should end up with this. Now, with Kerbal Space Program 0.20, they've changed the way that mods go in. So all mods are going to go into game data. Now, some mods are not updated yet, and they will still be installed in what they're calling the legacy system, and that is a bit different. If you come across one of those mods, the instructions should be on the page in the Kerbal Spaceport to explain how. But once you've extracted your file, wherever it goes to when you extract it, you want to take that folder, copy it or cut it or move it, and you want to put it into this game data folder. Okay, all your mods should go in here if they are updated for Kerbal Space Program 0.20. It's a little bit confusing because in 0.19 all of your parts would go into this parts folder, and your plugin data would go here and your plugin there. But they have changed it so that all mods will now go into game data, and it gets a little bit tricky when you're looking at the mod. You need to know if it is updated for Kerbal Space Program 0.20. So put your MechJeb in there, and that's going to take care of all your parts, all of the files that you need to run that. And then we will go to vehicle assembly building. And so here we are in the vehicle assembly building. Let me pull up a ship rover will do. One thing to keep in mind with MechJeb and a lot of the mods, that they are tied to a part. If you're using previous versions of MechJeb, you'll have several parts here that you can use. There's actually a separate mod from MechJeb that will add the functionality to all of your command pods, so you don't have to worry about putting on the part. As long as you're using one of your command pods, it'll be there. But if you're using MechJeb 2.0.8, nothing else, this is the only part you will have, and you need to make sure that you put this onto your craft somewhere. If you don't have it, it will not work. and you will know when you go to launch, because several times I've built a craft that I'm about to launch and I go to open up my ascent guidance and it's just not there. And you go back and you put it on. But that's it. That's all you need to know how to install MechJeb. And then when you build your craft, put it on there. My next video we'll talk about how to, no, I think I need to build something. Yeah, so we'll talk about that. But until the next video, thanks for watching.